Everyone, thank you for joining us and welcome to Learning Labs presented by the Forget Computers team of experts. Our goal is to share ideas to help our clients get the most value out of their Apple technology. My name is Kat Garbus and I'm the Client Relationship Manager at Forget Computers. During our last Learning Lab, we talked about password best practices and how to build a good password. Today we will focus on how to master your passwords using 1Password. This is part 3 of our Security and Privacy series. We created this series because security concerns come through our support desk a lot these days, and a major component of a good security system is a good password system. Today's Learning Lab will provide the details into password system we use at Forget Computers. Your host today for today's program is Ben Greiner, founder and president of Forget Computers.
All right, thank you very much, Kat, and thank you all for taking time out of your day to join us. Let's get started. For a quick review, to remind us why we're spending time talking about passwords, in our first Learning Labs on security awareness and introduction to passwords, we learned how important it is to avoid using the same password across multiple accounts. And we discussed how a good password has a length of at least 16 characters and is random. We talked about how creating randomness is really difficult for most of us. So we need a system. We need a system to create random passwords, and we need a way to store, retrieve, and protect these crazy passwords. We used the DiceWorks method to create this secure password. It has sufficient length and randomness, and it would take a lifetime to crack, assuming we don't write it down and leave it next to our desk. And this is the one password we're going to use to remember all other passwords, at least in this demo. Please do not use this password. We're going to do this using my favorite password manager, 1Password. I just want to remind everyone that AgileBits, the developers of 1Password, have been kind enough to provide us with a discount code so you can save 25% on your order. If you don't yet own 1Password, you can save 25% by using this code until May 15th, this Friday. Then the code will expire. I also want to mention there are 2 ways to buy 1Password, and this can cause some confusion. One option is to buy from the Mac App Store. The other option is to buy it directly from the developer, AgileBits. The discount code only works from the AgileBits website, and the 2 versions are identical in features with one exception. Only the Mac App Store version can sync with iCloud. However, both versions can sync with Dropbox, so we are going to demonstrate that today. And the concept is the same no matter what method you choose. I'm going to skip the installation and most of the setup so we can get right into using 1Password. However, if you are a Forget Computers customer and you need any assistance, please contact our support desk. When we launch 1Password for the first time and click the I'm new to 1Password button, we're prompted to enter our master password. This is the complex password we created in our last Learning Lab. This is your key. To keep your data safe, this absolutely must be a good password. Use your own password, not this one, of course, and you must remember it. 1Password, this is very important. 1Password cannot be unlocked without your master password. So it's very important that you never forget it. For your privacy and security, your master password should be known only by you. If you don't have a good master password, you can change it in the 1Password preferences. Maybe you created a password just to explore 1Password and now you want to get serious. I recommend going in and giving yourself a serious password. If you need some help creating a secure and memorable master password, check out our previous Learning Lab video titled Intro to Passwords. During the setup process, 1Password creates what is called a vault. This is a secure database that can only be unlocked by using your master password. Whenever you need access to your vault, you must unlock it using your master password. Once 1Password is installed, there are 3 ways to get to your vault. You can launch the app, you can reference the 1Password mini app from the menu bar, or you can use the 1Password browser extension. If you don't have 1Password mini running, you'll need to enable it. It's in the 1Password general preferences. Because 1Password mini is required if you want to fill passwords in your browser, and you definitely want to fill passwords in with your browser. This is how I access 1Password most of the time. 1Password will not only fill usernames and passwords into websites, but also credit cards and addresses. This is extremely helpful. As the 1Password help documentation says, using 1Password without the browser extensions would be like buying a Ferrari and never putting gas in the tank. You can store all the stuff in it, but it won't help you get anywhere more quickly. 1Password tries to make it as easy as possible to install the browser plugins, and they've done a great job by providing many options. However, If you run into any difficulties and you're a Forget Computers client, please contact us for assistance. One of the most useful features in 1Password is its ability to fill in your passwords automatically in your browser. Logins you save can be used to fill in the same username and password the next time you visit a website. The first time you log into a site where you haven't already saved a login, 1Password will prompt you to save one. It's fairly straightforward. You visit a login page, type your username and password. 1Password then prompts you to save your login. Keep in mind there is some initial work to be done here because we have a bit of a chicken and egg problem. Last night, for example, I tried to get my 14-year-old son to start using 1Password, and he didn't know any of his passwords, so we couldn't save anything into 1Password. In my son's situation, and yours might be the same, he needs to either get the password from Keychain, which we talked about last time, or from me if I've stored it for him, or he'll have to reset his passwords. The goal is to get your credentials stored in 1Password so the next time you visit a site, you can quickly autofill the information. Once you've saved your first password, it's accessible and editable from the 3 areas I mentioned earlier: the 1Password application, 1Password Mini from the menu bar, or the 1Password button within your browser. And the browser button and the password mini are basically identical in how they look. And it's a little more limited than the full application. So even though you'll spend most of your time in the browser or maybe password mini, you may occasionally have to jump into the full app. Please be aware that sometimes 1Password cannot detect a login and may not prompt you to save your credentials. No worries. You can manually save a login using the app, 1Password Mini, or the 1Password browser extension. I also use 1Password to generate new passwords. If I need a new login for a new website or I need to change an existing password, I use the password generator in 1Password to create a 50-character random password. Then I copy and paste the password or simply hit the fill button. When I do this, 1Password prompts me to either save the password or update an existing password if it already has credentials stored for the site I'm visiting. What does this really look like? Let's look at one example. And we're going to go into the browser. And let's say we want to log into iCloud. So this is the iCloud page, and I just want to show you I'm not currently logged in. So what I will do is I will go up into my 1Password Mini. And actually, because I'm doing this demonstration, I'm on a demo. I'm in a demo vault. And if I click on that, you can see that I have other vaults. I have my primary vault, I have my Forget Computers vault, and I have my family vault. And we'll talk more about multiple vaults in our next presentation when we introduce team security. But for now, I'm going to go into my primary vault. And because I'm already on this website, it identifies a lot of sites related to Apple. I have way too many Apple logins. But I want to minimize that for iCloud. Actually, I'm going to close this window so we get a better example of what I'm trying to demonstrate here. So you can see I've got nothing up there. I search for iCloud. I get my login. Because I'm still transitioning my family, I also have my family's login. I also have a note down here, and I have my mom's Apple ID because I need to help her sometimes, and she's not yet using 1Password. So I'm going to go to iCloud. I'm just going to click that. It's going to take me to the website. It's going to automatically log me in. That's just a simple way to go directly into a website. But let's say we're already on the website. I'm going to log out. There's really no reason to go to 1Password Mini. You can just go right here in the web browser. Once again, I have way too many logins. I know this is the one I want. I can click on it, or I can search and filter. It automatically logs me in. And that's the simplicity of 1Password. Once you have this information stored, you can quickly access it. And by the way, for those of you watching, if you do send me an email to my Apple ID, you notice I will not read it. It just will collect there. so don't use that. Hopefully I've demonstrated the power and convenience of 1Password. As you use 1Password, don't stop with logins. Switch back to the demo and go into the full app. Here's our demo vault, and you can see it's not just passwords that we can store here. Logins, which we just demonstrated. You can also store secure notes, credit cards. This is very helpful when buying information online. Identities. You may have an identity for when you want things shipped to your office versus shipped to your home. Passwords, in this case, garage door code. Your garage door doesn't have a username, it just has a password. You might want to store that here. rewards programs, hotels, airlines, driver's licenses, and passports. I store that in my 1Password. You can even store software licenses if you want. And then you can sort them and do all sorts of things here. And once you have this information in 1Password, they have a great feature called Security Audit that will tell you where your weak passwords are, whether or not you have duplicate passwords, how old your passwords are. And they have this feature called Watchtower, which you do need to enable in preferences. I have mine enabled. And it simply tells you if a site has had a compromise and or a vulnerability alert, and it alerts you to changing that password. Now, this is for demonstration purposes. I don't know if Ars Technica truly has that problem or not, but maybe they did at one time. Now, the issue is this is all great. I tell you I use this as a virtual wallet, but I don't carry my notebook around with me all the time. I most often carry my phone with me. So I want to take this information with me on my phone. A great feature that is built into 1Password is the ability to sync my 1Password data with my iPhone using the 1Password for iOS app. So let's see what that looks like. So hopefully you can all see my iPhone, and I'm going to search for 1Password. I'm going to open it up. And the great thing about 1Password on the newer iPhones is that it supports Touch ID, so I don't have to type in my master password other than after restarting my iPhone. So I'm going to unlock with my fingerprint, and here I've got the same information on my phone as I have on my Mac, and I can search and find the information I need, and I can copy any information, simply copy it and paste it. I can even go into the built-in web browser and visit that site. It will auto-log me in. Or I can open up Safari, and when I'm at a page that requires a login, I can use the 1Password login extension, which you can see there in the lower left. So that takes a little more setup that we're not going to go into right now, but if you have any issues with that, let me know. The combination of 1Password on the Mac, 1Password on iOS, and having access to all this information is just fantastic. And the way we're going to keep those in sync is through Dropbox. You need a Dropbox account. You can use the free account. Within 1Password preferences, sync, I've told the demo to sync to my Dropbox. And I'm going to do the same on my iPhone. I'm going to switch to 1Password. Because I left the app and I'm coming back, I have to authenticate again. That's a preference that I chose for more security. I'm going to go into Settings, Sync, and I'm going to start syncing. I'm going to choose Dropbox. I'm going to choose my Dropbox account. Now you have to have Dropbox on the phone as well. So I've got Dropbox on the phone, I've got Dropbox on my Mac. And I can see here that I have several vaults, as I mentioned earlier, and one is a demo. So I'm going to select the demo, and it's going to start syncing. So now any changes I make on my iPhone or my Mac will stay up to date. And that's a great tool. I recommend everyone do that. Let's go back to our presentation. I want you all to take a moment and congratulate yourself, because now you have the tools and the knowledge required to better protect yourself by actively managing your passwords and many other items, including credit card information and commonly used web forms. I encourage you to keep using 1Password and use it with all the websites where you have an account. The ideal situation is to avoid using a single, weak, or reused password on any site. I realize it can feel overwhelming at first, but it will get easier the more you use 1Password. If you need a good starting point, we recommend starting with your most important sites first. Your email and banking sites are wise choices. 1Password is built to create strong, unique passwords for every site. It remembers them all for you and logs you in with a single tap. It's the best way to stay secure and the fastest way to use the web. Additionally, 1Password can store almost anything you want to keep safe: credit cards, notes, and addresses, and more. Everything in your 1Password vault is protected by a password only you know, your master password. All you need to do is remember your master password. 1Password will remember the rest. That ends our presentation. I'm sending this back to Kat for some closing comments, and we'll open the presentation up for questions.
Thanks, Ben, and thank you all once again for taking time out of your day to improve your security. Please join us in 2 weeks, Wednesday, May 27th, when we'll discuss strategies for reducing your exposure to risk and improving security when working in a team environment. We'd appreciate your feedback as well. If you feel we have helped or let you down, please let us know. Open a ticket or reach out to us at feedback@forgetcomputers.com. We also welcome suggestions for content as well if there's something you would like to see. And let's take a look and see if we have any questions. Does 1Password for iOS cost anything?
Yeah, the app is free to download and includes the basics, so I recommend you all do that. You can create, edit, and use secure notes and logins, credit cards, and identity items. However, if you'd like to have the full 1Password experience, you do need to unlock pro features with a one-time in-app purchase of $9.99.
Next question. What if I forgot my 1Password master password?
Right, great question, and it's certainly worth repeating. If you forget your password, you will lose everything and have to start over. In fact, once when I was testing a new password, I managed to change my password and not know it. I was locked out, and the story behind that is too long for this presentation. However, I was able to restore a previous version of the 1Password Vault from Crash Plan and regain access to my information. So backups are good and always recommended.
Okay, we got another question. Any concerns about Dropbox getting compromised with your sync keys?
Oh, that also is an excellent question. If Dropbox were to have a security breach, your data is only as safe as your master password. And that is exactly why it's so important to have a master password that cannot be hacked. So remember that. If you have an insecure master password and that data is compromised or someone has access to your vault, although AgileBits, the developers of 1Password, does their best to slow down a hacker. Remember we talked about a hacker can use a program to go through, I don't know, it was like 3,000 passwords a second or something crazy like that. 1Password has blockers built in to stop attackers from doing that, from what they call brute forcing their way in. So it will really slow them down. But still, you don't want to have a weak or obvious password. You want to have a secure one. Okay, any more questions? Thanks again, everyone, for joining us.
Have a great day. Thank you.